I am the great Gazoo, and I thank you for rescuing me.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 cartoon moments that made fans rage quit.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Griffin, but Brian's injuries are just too severe for us to save him. I don't know how much longer he has, but I suggest that you all go in and say your goodbyes.
For this list, we'll be looking at some of the highly controversial animated scenes that heavily disappointed viewers in the worst ways. Which cartoon moment made you turn off the TV? Let us know in the comments.
Hey Mojoholics! For a chance to win cash prizes, play our live daily trivia challenges every day at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern only at WatchMojo.com/play.
Number 20. Lucy ruins the game. It's your first kiss, Charlie Brown. It's the homecoming game, arguably the biggest football game in Charlie Brown's life, and he is determined to impress his longtime crush. Unfortunately, Lucy is his place kick setter, and we all know how the dynamic between these two works.
Charlie Brown, do you think that I'd pull this football away in an important game like this?
You'd think Lucy wouldn't dare pull her tricks during an important match, but she does. She humiliates Charlie Brown every chance she gets by pulling the football away. The team loses the game, and Charlie Brown is blamed. Lucy doesn't get reprimanded at all, even though it was literally all her fault. Honestly, we probably could have accepted Lucy pulling her pranks on Charlie Brown again. It's a Peanuts tradition, but she should have at least gotten called out for it this time.
They beat us by 1 point. I blew it. The little red-haired girl must think I'm a fool.
Number 19. Ben and Julie break up. Ben 10, Omniverse. While Ben and Julie's relationship wasn't perfect, many fans grew fond of the chemistry they shared. However, when Omniverse came around, the crew decided it was time to break them up. And how did they accomplish this? In the dumbest way possible. A misunderstanding over the phone while Ben is playing a video game.
I am not ready for the next level! I am paying attention. You're strangling me!
Splitting up a major couple is one thing, but they decided to take the lazy route and play it off for laughs. Many fans and even some staff members wrote letters, and even threatened to stop watching the show, but Cartoon Network wouldn't budge. Instead, they leaned towards hooking Ben up with his first crush, Kai, which would have been fine if their tactic wasn't so underhanded.
You don't believe in fate, do you?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
Number 18. Rest in Peace, Terrence. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Part of what makes Aqua Teen Hunger Force so beloved is the absurd misadventures of our favorite sentient food creatures in a rundown suburban setting. However, around season 5, that zany spark that made the show special started to fizzle out, and in its place came gratuitous, disgusting shock value scenes.
Who's Kitty Cat?
Whose do you think?
Yours?
For example, in the episode Ridiculous, Master Shake tries to torment Meatwad by microwaving a cat. Not only is the punchline uninspired, but the act is just gruesome. Sadly, the episode only gets worse from here, as it includes a disgusting variety of radioactive feces, rotting corpses, and more. The Aqua Teens may be vulgar, but this just feels grossly out of place for them.
So who's Kitty Cat we talking about here?
Well, do the math. You had one, now you have none.
Number 17. The Goliath Chronicles. Gargoyles. While fans constantly praised the first 2 seasons of Gargoyles, the third, dubbed The Goliath Chronicles, left a sour taste in their mouths. The biggest reason was that the writing staff was replaced with a new team that didn't seem to understand the show.
How could you refuse them, David? Get one of those gargoyles to the library steps right now!
They couldn't grasp its continuity or how its characters should be portrayed. For example, in one episode, Fox, a well-trained ex-mercenary who can hold her own, was reduced to a weak, fragile person who gives up too easily. This abysmal characterization is just one of the reasons the third season is considered non-canon by everyone. This includes the series' creator, Greg Weisman, who continued the show's story the right way in comic form.
It ends tonight.
Number 16. The Fart Fairy, Total Dramarama. Fans of the original Total Drama already had mixed opinions on the spin-off prequel series, Total Dramarama, but this episode really clinched the fandom's well-deserved hatred. For context, the kids encounter a fairy that collects farts by smelling them.
Come on! I can't be the only one here who thinks that's really messed up!
The worst part, we're subjected to a creepy montage of him inhaling the children's farts and clearly enjoying it way too much. Yes, Total Drama is no stranger to fart jokes, but this takes it to a disgusting new level. Seriously, who thought a fairy with a full-grown man's voice sniffing toddler flatulence would appeal to anyone? Unfortunately, even with the 2023 reboot, the writer's obsession with flatulence hasn't gone away.
That came out of nowhere. Well, not nowhere. It took me by surprise, is all I'm trying to... I might have trouble crossing the island silently.
Number 15. The Time Skip, Phineas and Ferb. The penultimate episode of Phineas and Ferb's 4th season gave us a look at 10 years in the future when the kids are heading off to college. Here, Phineas and Isabella finally confront the latter's secret feelings for the former, and the fandom's reaction has been very split at best.
It's too bad Isabella and Phineas never got together.
Yeah, I always thought they were meant for each other.
On the one hand, seeing the two hook up is very wholesome, and the song What Might Have Been leaves us feeling misty-eyed. On the other hand, the whole episode feels more like glorified fanfiction with no actual conflict. Plus, it doesn't seem realistic for Isabella to just drift away from Phineas as a friend. Also, the future designs for the kids just feel off somehow.
What might have been?
Number 14. Iggy torments Arnold. Hey Arnold. When Arnold discovers an embarrassing secret about Iggy, Sid and Stinky find out and turn Iggy into a laughingstock. Arnold is blamed for all this, and goes out of his way to apologize to Iggy for something that wasn't even his fault.
So does that mean you forgive me? No way.
Iggy refuses to accept his apology, unless he completely humiliates himself. Even though Iggy learns his lesson at the last minute, his unsympathetic characterization ensured that he never got a major role in an episode ever again. Meanwhile, Sid and Stinky, the ones who cause all this trouble, get off completely scot-free and remain major players for the rest of the show. And poor Arnold learns that some people aren't worth forgiving.
Boy, Iggy's really taking this thing hard.
Yeah, that's true. But how long can a feller stay mad?
Number 13. Bendy gets off scot-free. Foster's home for imaginary friends.
11 minutes is all a show needs to send its reputation down the toilet. Case in point, the short episode everyone knows it's Bendy.
Have you considered that perhaps it is not Bendy performing these acts, but your son instead?
What?
Throughout the episode, newcomer Bendy commits a ton of bratty actions, like writing on the walls, breaking vases, and walking through the house with muddy shoes. Unfortunately, other characters like Blue and Wilt are framed and accused of Bendy's wrongdoings, and he eventually gets off without repercussions. Bendy was such a detested character that he was never brought back, and the episode's writer, Lauren Faust, apologized to fans for writing him into the show.
Back up the pipe system so I can expose him for the fraud he is!
Blue?
You flooded the house!
Yeah, but Bendy took a cookie!
Number 12. No Such Luck. The Loud House. Overwhelmed with attending important family events, Lincoln tricks the rest of the Louds into thinking he's bad luck so that they'll leave him be. Unfortunately, the trick goes too far, as the rest of the Louds go to extreme lengths to avoid Lincoln's alleged unluckiness, including boarding up his bedroom and locking him out of the house.
Guys, I think you accidentally locked me out.
Worst of all, in the end, he's forced to wear a lucky mascot suit for who knows how long. Yes, Lincoln shouldn't have tried to weasel out of supporting his family, but how they treat him over some stupid superstition is just cruel. Fans universally agree how horrible this episode is, and are still writing fanfics of it to this day.
Hey buddy, think I could bunk here for the night? Me too, Charles?
Number 11. Arthur's big hit, Arthur. To set the scene, DW destroys Arthur's model plane and acts like a callous brat about it. Arthur, in a fit of frustration, punches DW in the arm.
I told you not to touch it!
Obviously, Arthur hitting his sister is wrong, but later he gets hit by Binky, and Binky doesn't get punished for it, nor does DW for breaking Arthur's personal property. Instead, Arthur is the only one in the wrong. The episode tries to show that violence isn't the answer to conflict, but it struggles to properly deliver the message, and makes everyone involved look terrible. This episode is so hated that the infamous punch scene has since become an online meme.
Arthur Timothy Reed, come here!
Uh-oh. Middle name.
Number 10. The entire American Fung episode, American Dad.
He admits he's bored of only being a cartoon emperor. So I give him tennis shoe business, and he give me American Dad.
American Fung was an experiment that just did not work. In this meta episode, American Dad creator Seth MacFarlane sells the show to a Chinese businessman named Feng Hua. It's kind of an interesting concept that could have yielded some funny scenarios, but it didn't. It was immediately disliked by fans and currently sits at a quite abysmal 4 on 10 on IMDb. Common criticisms include the purposeless inclusion of Feng Hua, the lame repetitive jokes, and the total absence of a plot.
Well, looks like they've decided to put us in a private room. Let the anniversary begin.
Viewers were left staring at their TV screens in total disbelief as this bizarre and humorless event played out in front of them. And let us tell you, they were not happy about it.
我被我的家庭中单压死了。
不，我们是幸福呀。
而且不要忘记我们在一起有爱呀。
Number 9. Archer falls into a coma. Archer.
Wait, but if that's a cyborg...
That means the man in the pool is...
We hate to say it, but the future legacy of Archer could be in question. If it ended around season 7, it may have been praised as one of the best animated shows of all time, but seasons 8 and 9 have done significant damage to its reputation, and it all started with Archer falling into a coma. The subsequent seasons, Dreamland and Danger Island respectively, have been fiercely criticized by the fan base for being inconsequential.
He's been on this crummy island 4 years, so he's never heard of The Hobbit.
Which, as we all know, was published just last year in 1937.
Yeah, Archer's coma has allowed the writers to experiment with different settings, time periods, and situations, but it also means that none of the on-screen events hold meaning. They're essentially 2 seasons of filler, and unfunny filler at that.
Oh, for the... Come on, seriously? What, you couldn't find a snow globe?
Number 8. Garrisons Gender Affirmation Surgery. South Park.
If there's one thing we've learned about the TV business throughout the years, it's that South Park can survive anything. Whether it's seemingly world-ending controversies, political enemies, or proclamations of declining quality, the show has weathered it all.
Except maybe the whole Garrison thing.
Mom, Dad, what's a sex change operation?
The gender affirmation storyline was criticized for being lazy and cliched, with many considering it little more than an excuse to be controversial. This is reinforced by the inclusion of graphic footage from a real operation, which Trey and Matt only included because they were out of ideas.
South Park can be intelligent and thought-provoking when it wants to be, but this was not one of those times.
Don't you tell me what I can and can't do with my body. A woman has a right to choose.
Number 7. The Return of Slade. Teen Titans Go.
Sometimes a show is a little too cheeky for its own good.
You don't understand. It's Slade.
This infamous episode began with Robin breaking the dramatic news of the evil Slade's return. But it then cut straight to the battered Titans emerging from the tower and talking about how great the battle and associated storylines had been.
And it wasn't just the fight that was amazing. In the end, so many compelling storylines came together and resolved in such a satisfying way.
As you can imagine, this royally pissed fans off, and many were quick to denounce the show's manipulation. Others hated the episode's message about how childish nostalgia can be.
We can't hold on to our childhood forever. Things change.
The Return of Slade currently sits at a 3.1 on 10 on IMDb, a clear indication of the utter disdain the fans have towards this episode.
Well, it's too bad people will never see any of it.
No, that's a good thing, bro. It was just too epic.
Number 6. ScrappyDoo, Scooby-Doo and ScrappyDoo. When Scooby-Doo's ratings were falling, one bold decision ended up saving our favorite meddling kids. ScrappyDoo.
Uncle Scooby? Hi, I'm ScrappyDoo.
Scooby's nephew brought something fresh to the series, and the show was saved. But very soon, Scrappy overstayed his welcome. He ended up stealing his uncle's spotlight, replaced Fred, Velma, and Daphne, and his more abrasive personality really drove people nuts. After one last appearance in The Reluctant Werewolf and a villainous role in the first live-action film, Scrappy was never used again outside of a few jokes about his existence. Of course, Scrappy does still have his fans. Most of them feel like it's unfair to abandon him instead of trying to make him work in the new era. What do you think?
We could do a comic about the Blue Scooby and his partner and nephew, Scrappy Blue.
Number 5. Plankton's drastic attempt. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Now don't move it till I say, ow! Okay.
Honestly, what the heck happened to SpongeBob SquarePants? What was once a charming show about an eccentric sea sponge is now whatever it is. We can think of 2 specific scenes that are emblematic of the show's decline: the disgusting toenail sequence from House Fancy, and Plankton's attempt on his own life in one-course meal.
Go away, cheesehead! Can't you see I'm trying to get run over? In fact, better yet, just step on me as hard as you can. Would you do that for me?
The former represented an unwelcome shift to gross-out humor, while the latter was something that just didn't belong on a children's TV show. Fans hated that Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob preyed on Plankton's fears to this point, and harshly condemned the writers for treating a sensitive topic irresponsibly. There's nothing like this kind of joke to get the kids laughing, said no one.
Forget it, kid. I'll just wait for the next bus. Go on back to the Krusty Krab and enjoy yourself.
Okay.
Number 4. The introduction of Poof, Sparky, and Chloe, the Fairly Odd Parents.
Introducing new characters into a beloved show is always tricky. Some, like the cherished Desmond Hume on Lost, became instant fan favorites. Others, like Poof, are so bad that they single-handedly ruin what was once a great show. The death knell of the Fairly Odd Parents arguably rang with the season 6 premiere Fairly Odd Baby, which introduced fan-not-favorite Poof to the show. And things only got worse. Sparky joined the Turner family in season 9, but was instantly hated by the fans and written out. And then Chloe was introduced in season 10 and broke the proverbial camel's back. A show can only withstand so much.
Worst day ever! Jinx! Double jinx!
Number 3. Meeting the Great Gazoo, the Flintstones.
Jumping the shark is a term that represents a show's instantaneous decline in quality, and it's named after a scene in Happy Days where Fonzie literally jumps a shark on water skis.
There he goes!
If jumping the shark never caught on, we could have used Meeting the Great Gazoo, because this little green alien effectively killed the Flintstones.
You doubt the powers of the Great Gazoo? Take that!
While Gazoo wasn't introduced until the final season, and only appeared in a handful of episodes, critics immediately lambasted his inclusion for being nonsensical and stupid. Why on earth did they decide to write an alien into the show? No one knows, and to this day it remains one of the most baffling decisions in TV history.
So join America's favorite TV family. And a tiny green space alien named Osmodiar that only Homer can see on Fox this fall.
Number 2. Brian's death. Family Guy.
Brian Griffin's death will always have a place in the TV history books, just not for the right reasons.
Brian, look out!
The whole fiasco began with the 12th season episode Life of Brian. In it, Brian is graphically mangled by a car and later dies with the tearful Griffins by his side.
You've given me a wonderful life. I love you all.
His surprisingly poignant death made headlines and reinvigorated mainstream interest in Family Guy, but was met with terrible ire from the show's fanbase. IMDb was pummeled with bad reviews, and a petition to bring back Brian was started on change.org. And while Brian did indeed return only 2 episodes later, this too received criticism, as the temporary death was considered a manipulative ratings ploy. It was a lose-lose situation.
Brian, look out!
What the hell?
You're alive, my friend!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Skinner is an imposter. The Simpsons.
The weird thing about The Simpsons' decline is that no one can agree on when it started. Many critics point to the evil elf jockeys from Season 11's Saddle Sore Galactica.
What is this place?
Welcome to the secret land of the jockeys.
But others argue that the decline came sooner, in Season 9's The Principal and the Pauper. This is the episode that reveals Seymour Skinner to be an imposter named Armin Tamzarian.
I have never been happier or prouder to be Seymour Skinner.
You're not Seymour Skinner.
Skinner!
Skinner? I'm Skinner.
Fans absolutely hated this revelation, and it's often called the definitive end of the show's golden age. Even those associated with The Simpsons, including Matt Groening and Harry Shearer, consider the episode to be a horrible mistake, and one of the show's worst. With this one simple storyline, a TV empire began to crumble.
You know, maybe I've been a little too uptight in the past. Well, from now on, you're gonna see a new Seymour Skinner.
Oh, no, we won't.
Yes, Mother.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.